an instrument setup for the piece of equipment, the optics that we use in the freshman year. We've got a tripod, and the tripod, of course, it's called a tripod because it has 3 legs, and these legs are adjustable. So the first thing when we come up to where we're going to start to operate our surveying, I'm going to do the setup with the tripod, because I want to adjust the tripod taking into consideration the height of my optics. So we can see here we have a T16. So what I typically do is I pull my instrument out of the box before I do my tripod setup, because there's nothing that'll upset you more than getting your tripod up and level and it be too high or too low.
Comfortable height.
You want it at a comfortable height, absolutely. So we can see that we have this tripod, we have a keeper bolt and we have a receiver that's threaded. We set that on the top of our tripod. It's just like screwing in a bolt. Okay.
So Scott just checked the instrument height. We know now based on height that the top of instrument's going to be somewhere in here. That means our base plate's going to be in here. Now we can remove the instrument and level up our tripod. So depending on ground conditions, we might be set up over concrete, but if we look at our tripod legs, we're pointed. That will help us level if we're in the ground, where we can use the foot rest to go ahead and apply some pressure to the legs. That makes the instrument a little more stable. It also gives us a slight adjustment if we need it, if we need to move just one of the legs a little bit. We've unbolted our 3 thumb screws. We can make adjustments and raise the level of the tripod.
And we said that we needed to be right in this area.
So if we'd level there's several ways we can do this. In the old days, we'd either have a little builder's level with us, a little micro level that we can level up. If you don't have one of those in the field or the conditions didn't allow it, we just need to look at our plate and eyeball it in. We want to see a north-south direction and an east-west. So I'd move back from the plate and I just eyeball, and I could tell my partner, hey, our east-west is looking in pretty good shape. I'm looking at the plate this way. Then I'd want to rotate around 90 degrees and look at my north-south. In this case, we need to come up on my side of the plate, maybe about 1/4 to 1/2 of an inch, right there. And we get it close. If we get it close, we can then make some fine-tune adjustments once the instrument is placed. Now, with the technology that most people have in their pocket, there's a faster way. Pull up the compass on your phone. Most of our smartphones have a compass and a leveling function built into the phone. You can set that on your plate. You can make your adjustments and you can get very close to perfect level before your instrument goes on.
It's time now at this point to set our optics up on the tripod. So we're using today a T16. Our optics are what we use in the freshman year. This is kind of, it's not rudimentary. It is probably 30, 40 years old.
And it's still true. It's a great piece of equipment.
Still, the optics are still awesome. When calibrated properly, this piece of equipment you could take on today's construction site and do everything we need to do.
And you'll still see a lot of smaller companies using this because it doesn't need to have the batteries charged. It doesn't need to be programmed. It's a very simple setup. It's a very safe setup, and we can still do building layout and a lot of other different techniques using this T16.
Absolutely.
So you've got the instrument locked.
I got it locked.
So we'd want to look. This T16 has a little bullseye level right here. And a bullseye level is just what it sounds like. It's a series of rings with our bubble inside. So I'd want to go ahead and look at that bullseye level, make my adjustments with my thumbs. We usually are turning 2 screws at once. And a lot of times with the bullseye level, I'll cheat just a little bit and use one thumb to find out where I need to be.
Nope, let's back that up.
Oh.
That's for up here.
The 2 thumbs?
You're going to put the bubble with the legs.
Oh shit, I always adjust it with these.
Well, what are you doing? Once you come up here to this bubble, you're going right against what you would.
Oh, seriously? I still were able to do it by using
Okay,
both thumbs.
because
but
you're close.
You've done it. Yeah, you've done it. I've always had
Yeah, no,
trouble
it's-
adjusting this, and my bubble's going crazy. But you,
Right.
shit, you've done more surveying than I have. So scratch that.
What we do is we want to get all of our screws mid in its travel. So these thumb screws move up and down and tip the instrument.
So they have a maximum and a minimum
They have
that they
absolutely
can travel. Okay.
Exactly. So what we kind of want to do is we want to make sure that none of our bolts are on the base.
Okay.
You know, thoroughly threaded down. So we want to get them up mid-travel. So you guys can, when you guys get in and you start to work with the equipment, mess around with it. Learn what everything does. We can tell you what it is and what it does, but until you get on the instrument and start manipulating it, then everything becomes clear on how we do a proper setup. So once we get our thumb screws uniform, and you can see that it actually has kind of a ring mid-travel that you
Right.
can set the screw to.
We're not done yet. We
Right.
still have to make our adjustments.
So now we're ready to start our adjustment.
We have a target bubble here, and this is going to be our next adjustment. We want to get the little bubble inside the bullseye target, and we can see that we're not there, so Scott's going to make some small adjustments to the legs. We swung around,
Now come down on that one.
and we'll watch our bubble. Oh, God, I came too far, didn't I, Scott?
Yeah.
We got to move really, really slow.
Now you're getting real close.
And once we get that bubble inside of our target, we tighten down our thumb screws, and you can see now our bubble is very, very close to being perfect inside the bullseye target.
So once we get that bubble in the target, now we move up the instrument. And if we'll come in with the camera, we can see on top of the housing, where my finger is, we have a vial. Looks more like what we see on a builder's level, you know, on a level.
Like that torpedo,
Right.
right?
So what we're doing now is we're going to line up that vial with two of our thumb screws. We're going to run them parallel, in line. So I can set that up. Now with both hands, I'll put a hand on each thumb screw. Actually, I'll do these. Now, remember, the bubble in the vial is going to travel with which direction you're either pulling or pushing the screw. So if I'm doing this and I'm counterclockwise on my left hand with the thumb screw here, and I'm pulling it counterclockwise, my thumb is traveling in which direction?
To the left.
No, my thumb.
Oh, yeah, when you're rotating in towards each other, yeah, your
Yeah.
thumb's
So
traveling
the
towards
thumb-
me to the right.
So the way the bubble travels in the vial is with the thumb. So if I'm pulling it counterclockwise, I'm making the bubble travel to the right.
To the right.
If I'm clockwise, the bubble's going to come across the vial to the left.
Got it.
It's your left hand. That's it. The left hand, not the right.
Okay.
Okay, so now we can do what I said. We line the vial up with the two thumb screws, and now I'm going to center the bubble in the vial. The thing about the micro adjustments is whatever you do with the left hand, you're doing with the right counter to it. So once we get it in place, now I'm going to move to two more thumb screws. So I'll come around, and now I'll do these two.
So you're now parallel to the next set.
So here we see it coming across. Left hand is counterclockwise, so the bubble's moving to the right. I get it in place. And they're so temperamental. Just micro adjustment will shift your bubble. Okay, now that I have those two, I'll do to the third set of two.
Okay.
Now one would think we're done, but if you notice, we're always using one thumb screw
Right.
of the last adjustment. That's okay. We keep coming around because what we're doing, just like using an average, is we're getting closer each time to exact.
Start to eliminate
Yes.
that air. So you want to go back to your home position,
Right.
where you started.
Where I started from, so we come back to the home position, And now we may have another micro adjustment, but you're going to see each time you go around the 3 different adjustments, it gets closer and closer. The adjustment is less and less until you're boop. And we're pretty close here. Okay.
Small adjustment, not bad for his first day on the job.
Yeah. See, like Mark said, that bubble went and it came back, so you've got to be patient and wait. Okay, one more check and I think we're good to go.
Now this is a long instrument setup. We had to set the legs of our tripod. We had to set the base of the tripod. Then we had to get our target level. Then we had to get the torpedo level and work it multiple times around. Can't I just skip a couple of these steps, set up my instrument? I only need to shoot one measurement.
No. Proper setup is crucial to any surveying operations. If you can't set the piece of equipment up right, then you're not going to get whatever that one thing you need to shoot. If we don't set up properly, dial in our instrument to where we are perfectly plumb and level in this head, then we're not going to have any success with what we're doing.
Our optics are off, which throws our measurement off,
Absolutely.
which could then throw the building off, which then throws the high-tech piece of instrumentation that's going into the building, so that cascading effect of
Absolutely.
air.
Absolutely.